Imagine getting pregnant, and then instead of getting an abortion, you keep the baby, and then once the baby is born, you give it up for adoption. And then that same baby comes back looking for you once they get older. There has to be some type of non-disclosure agreement that they agreed to. But it seems like everybody who gets adopted always has, like, even when it's like a closed adoption, they're still able to find their parents. Baby, I gave you life. And I gave it to somebody that actually wanted you. That's the best I could do for you. Like, why are you looking for me? I did not get you taken from me. I willingly gave you away. Please do not come and find me. Like, I moved on with my life after I had you. I gave you life, and I gave you to some people that probably couldn't have kids, or somebody who desperately wanted another baby. Like, please do not come looking for me. Please. I gave you to your family. Do not come looking for me. Closed adoption, they're still able to find their parents. Baby, I gave you life, and I gave it to somebody that actually wanted you. That's the best I could do for you. Like, why are you looking for me?
So I'm adopted, and I found this video very I'm not gonna lie, I found it very insensitive. The same with the comments. I want to say borderline disgusting, but I'm just gonna leave it right there. So I'm adopted. I reached out to my biological parents, and I found them when I was like about 13. My mom told me who they were the whole time. Like, I've known I was adopted since before I can even remember. I remember, like, I was like around 3 or 4 when my mom was explaining it to me, and I wanted to meet my parents because I wanted to know why I was the way that I was. And I also found out I had 2 sisters, and I wanted to know them. I wanted to know who they were. I wanted to know where I got my singing abilities from, or how I was able to play the piano so well. And my parents, my adopted parents, they weren't like, they loved music, but they weren't very like musically inclined. Like, my parents can't play like instruments or anything. So I want to know like where all these gifts came from that I had. My parents is definitely like nurture versus nature. My parents helped me, and they molded me into who I was, but I wanted to know where my health problems were coming from, because I did have health problems. I ended up having scoliosis. I had like a hormone imbalance, and we wanted to know where that was coming from, why I wasn't growing, what was going on with me. And so that helped me reaching out to them. And now I do know my sisters, and I love them so much. And I don't know, talk to somebody who's adopted or who's been through the foster care system before you make a very like insensitive video. And I get that's your thought process, but how about you think about how others feel before you get on the internet? And the comments were like deplorable. Like, the comments were disgusting. We have a right to know. And they said that if you want to know that who your birth parents were, you're ungrateful. In the comments, I want to know who I came from, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love my cousins. I love my aunt. I love my grandpa. Like, I have a relationship with my grandparents, like my biological grandparents, that I never would have got a chance to have if I didn't take that leap to reach out. So talk to people before you make a disgusting video, and like actually like put yourself in other people's shoes. I think the thing with social media now is everybody's become desensitized. I'm not ungrateful for wanting to know my biological family. Now I got a whole extended family, and I love them. So they're a part of me. I'm a part of them, and it is what it is. My adoptive family, they've been so supportive, my mom and my dad, and they're making an effort, and that's all that matters. And my experience is not everyone's experience. I've had my hardships with it. Trust me, therapy was my best friend for the longest time, because that's a lot to deal with. That's an emotional anyways, but that's not everybody's experience. But like, within her video, she said like that I willingly gave you up, so why would you want to come for me? That come like try to meet me. That's your responsibility. Like, that's your burden to bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has nothing to do with me. Like, every kid has the right to know, but not every kid wants to know, and that's fine. Not I've seen some kids like grow up and they don't want to know who their biological parents are, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody is different, but don't blame the child for wanting to know where they come from. That's your burden.
After this woman coming out clean on social media talking about how they gave up their baby for closed adoption, an adoptee came out and really talked about how it wasn't the right thing for this mother to do and all that. And a lot of people actually are expecting the adoptees to come out and say things like that, but they also understand that this woman actually chose to give out the baby willingly, of which even the woman said that the baby wasn't taken from them, they gave them out willingly, and that the baby should not have come looking for them once they were old. Before I give any comments, I have made some videos for us. Let's first of all watch the videos together, and then I'm going to give my thoughts about this at the end of the videos. Stay tuned.
Why are you looking for me? I did not get you taken from me. I willingly...
Ignore my hair. The hair appointment is this weekend. But anyways, I had a teacher in 7th grade, and he was like, the truth is stranger than fiction, and the fiction is easier to swallow than the truth. And this post shows how, like, y'all do know the truth ain't pretty. The truth is harsh, and people shouldn't have to sweeten their delivery to make it work for you. Nobody should. But I think that this post just shows how entitled some people are, and how y'all look at topics based on feelings and emotion instead of logic. And then on top of that, y'all look at a certain topic from one point of view, and it makes no sense. If you go out seeking your birth parents, you should also be okay with the concept of rejection. And y'all have to understand, your biological parents don't owe you an explanation as to why they put you up for adoption. They don't have to have a conversation with you. They don't have to acknowledge you. They don't have to do any of that. Is it harsh? Yes, but they don't have to do that. They don't have to give you their medical history. They don't have to. And I think that y'all turned this topic into something that it's not. She is talking about this topic from the lens of being in a state where abortion is banned. So whether you want the child or not, you have to go through with the pregnancy. So if you're someone who don't want kids, you don't want the pregnancy, but you have no choice, and you have this baby that you do not technically want because you don't want kids, and that same said child is coming looking for you, it would be upsetting to that parent. But again, y'all are not looking at it from the point of view of the parent, because ideally they have rights and boundaries that need to be respected as well. But you're so concerned about your feelings, your emotions, your personal experiences that y'all do not care. Y'all don't care. And then y'all go searching for these people, thinking y'all are going to get this sweet, happy ending. The whole time the situation ends up like Sky when she met up with Genesis on Black Ink. Sometimes it's just, y'all had to, and majority of the time, the birth parents are at peace with their decision. They're at peace. But the main thing is, you're not entitled to a conversation. You're not entitled to knowing why you were put up for adoption. You're not entitled to know who they are. Because yes, you might want to know who they are, but what if they don't want to know who you are? Stop having opinions based off feelings and emotions. The truth ain't pretty, but you gotta hear it.
The internet is finally arguing about something that I can actually chime in on because of lived experience. And this is about the closed adoption debate. I literally only have one question. Okay. And this is like kind of specific, but if somebody gave you up for adoption, they wanted a closed adoption simply because they could not or would not get an abortion. They did not want a baby. They don't want anything to do with a baby. Why are y'all so thirsty to seek out people who did not want you to exist? And before y'all try to act like I can't speak on this, let me give y'all my credentials, okay? I was in the foster system. I was adopted out of the foster system. So, I was the foster kid and I am adopted. So I can speak on this. adoptees were going to have like strong feelings towards that video and they were going to disagree. I have had my run-ins with adoptees on this app when I was giving my opinion on the Caitlin and Tyler from Teen Mom, that whole situation when their adoption was closed by the adoptive parents for Caitlin and Tyler being disrespectful, crossing boundaries, and being too much of the trauma twins towards their birth daughter's adoptive parents, right? And a lot of the adoptees did not like my takes, and a lot did agree with my takes. I'm going to tell y'all right now, from dealing with that community, I realized that a lot of them react with emotion, trauma. There's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of drama. Like, it is probably one of the most wild communities I've ever like encountered. Like, had this misfortune of encountering. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And quite a few of them don't even believe in adoption. They actually want adoption to be eradicated. They don't even want adoption to be a thing. They think that there should be like guardianship to where like you're not adopted, you just have a guardian until your parents are ready to take you back. Like, that's one of the big things that they push. But I agree with a lot of them where adoption needs reform. It needs a rehaul. There's a lot of corruption that goes on. It's $1 billion industry. I agree with those points, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the way y'all see adoption, they don't see it. And it is because their own lived experience, but a lot of them have quite a bit of trauma, and it projects into like rational, logical thinking. Like, they're in a whole nother universe when it comes to it. And that's due to their lived experience and their trauma from their adoption. So most of them will not agree with you that if it's a closed adoption, they shouldn't have access to the birth parent. They feel like they're entitled to access, which I can see that to a point. But then my other issue with that is like, say that adoption was trauma for that mother, right? And here's the thing. A lot of this conversation is centered around the woman. It's not the father, the birth father. It is the birth mother, which is bullshit. It's bullshit because it's always attached to a woman somehow. So say the birth mother had trauma when it came to this adoption and the birth, whether it's rape, whether it was, a religious trauma, something like they had to make this hard choice, right? And they want to move on with their life. Why do you feel like as the, child that you're entitled to that person's owing you an explanation or having a relationship with you? Like, why you guys, a lot of adoptees lead with trauma, but what if you're re-traumatizing or re-victimizing that woman? Y'all don't care about that. You don't think about it like that. You only think about yourselves, which I can get it because you went through it's a hard traumatic situation, but that woman that did decide to give you up for adoption did the same thing. So if they feel like they don't want a relationship or they feel like they want their rights or their privacy protected, I think that they should be allowed that. Like, it's trauma for both sides. Both sides are going through a hard thing. Y'all all need therapy. But I think there's entitlement. There's a lot of entitlement when it comes to this situation. And I get where the entitlement's coming from because it's a hurtful thing. But I don't think that, from what I'm seeing responses, there's not a lot of thought that's getting put into it besides me, what I deserve. I was a child. I didn't ask for this. Me. It's not about maybe my birth parent or my birth mother had something traumatic happen to her and she had to make this hard decision, and maybe that would hurt her by having to see me. Like, that wouldn't be good for her mental health either. Like, that would just re-victimize her. But y'all don't care about that. They don't care about that. It's a me, I situation. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. It's gonna piss adoptees off, but y'all really, I think a lot of y'all still need a lot of therapy, and you need to work through your trauma, your triggers, and all that. And it's very clear by the response to that woman's take and how people, are seeing things logically and not going off emotion, which is what y'all do. This discourse also reminded me as to why I am pro-choice. This is a good example of why we need to be a pro-choice society. Yeah, a lot of y'all are pro-life when really you need to be pro-choice just based on how you feel about this whole discourse that's happening right now. Yeah.
After watching these videos, I realized that actually a lot of people feel like these adoptee put her feelings on the line instead of looking at things just as logical as they are. Because come on, think about it. If you are in a country that doesn't, or in a state that actually doesn't allow you to have an abortion, and you really have to have this baby, and you're not capable of taking care of this baby, you're not in a position where you can give this baby a good life, but then you can choose to give up this baby for adoption, and from there the baby can get better treatment, which is the right thing to do. And even as an adoptee, I want you to think about it that way. Is it okay for that mother to keep you, for your biological mother to keep you, when they are really straining and struggling to even maybe take care of themselves? Then they are, and how are they going to take care of you if they can't even take care of themselves? And you'll understand that she says that she wants to understand her history, why she's the way she is, and all that. But I've never heard of any adoptee actually going looking for their dads. Does it mean that they do not have any backgrounds with their fathers? Because all they are coming out complaining about is their mothers. And they feel like they deserve to be raised by their biological mothers, of which I don't think that is the right thing, because when a person actually chooses to do something willingly, they had their reasons for doing that, and they had actually weighed their options and looked at things with a lot of scrutiny, that they ended up thinking that a closed adoption was the right thing for them to do. If they wanted to know you, if they wanted you in their lives, if they wanted you to be around, if they actually wanted you to know them, they could have put it as an open adoption. That is why, actually, I don't know if you have actually seen these videos where some of these girls, some of these boys go look, but mostly it is happening to girls, where they're going to look for their biological mothers, and their biological mothers are telling them, nah, I gave you up, I have moved on, and you also need to move on. Like, why is it so hard for you to actually move on and accept the fact that this woman maybe deserved better, that this woman chose to live a different life because they really didn't want you? Why can't you accept the fact that they just didn't want you in their lives? You just move on. You're already a grown up, you're having a good life, maybe you even have a job, you're working, you're getting paid pretty well. Why are you even looking for them? It's not like they matter right now. You don't need them right now. You needed them when you were growing, when you were younger, when you were vulnerable. That's when you needed them. Now you're a grown up, you don't need actually to be around them. You don't have to be with them. I don't know. You can tell me what you think about this in the comment section. And if you're new here at Borderless Perspectives, kindly remember to subscribe, like, and share this video. And until next time, it's goodbye from me.